Yes.
Not sure what it means, but this photo of us, it don't have a price. Ready for those flashing lights, 'cause you know that, baby, I'm your biggest fan. I'll follow you until you love me. Papa, paparazzi, baby, there's no other superstar. You know that I'll be your papa, paparazzi. Promise I'll be kind, but I won't stop until that boy is mine. Baby, you'll be famous, chase you down until you love me. Papa, paparazzi.
Alright, so here's what I had him do. I had him first just go like this with his hips, and I told him to just imagine his back hip moving forwards and his front hip moving backwards. So it's like this motion with the hips. Okay? And I told him to first just isolate the hips without trying to rotate his torso with it. So first just go like this while keeping the torso kind of still, not letting it uncoil yet. Okay, so practicing this motion. We did this a bunch of times. Then I had him do this. That same hip motion, just letting the arms kind of flail and flow as an after effect of the hips rotate. So when the hips uncoil, the arms should just naturally follow. So I'm not actively yanking my arms forward with the hips. The hips go and then the arms just follow, okay? So once my hip uncoils this way, that rotates my core, which pulls my upper body and arms through the hitting zone, okay? What I had him do is focus especially on that front hip. Since we're doing close stance forehands, I told him to focus on unlocking that front hip. So that front hip needs to uncoil this way. So to get that external rotation of the front hip, what I told him is he needs to focus on the left lower back and left glute area. So those are the muscles used for external rotation of the hip. So I had him go like this a few times. Okay. Then I told him to pick up the racket and just do this a few times. So not to actively try to swing the arm forward while the hips are going. First, I just told him to just keep his arm and racket here in place and just fire that hip, externally rotate that front hip, or to imagine that cue of the back hip going forwards and the front hip going backwards. Basically same thing, okay? Once he got the hang of this, then I told him to do shadow swings where he fires the hips and then the arms come forward, kind of like as an after effect. Just like when we went like that, I had him do that, okay? So you see how I'm like not even really trying to move my arms forward. They're just kind of being slung by my hip uncoiling. They're just being slung through the contact zone from my hip uncoiling. So now when I actually try to swing with that, I get this really nice uncoiling that the top elite pros get, where their hips are initiating everything and the kinetic chain fires seamlessly because the hips are dragging the core and the rest of the body through the hitting zone. As opposed to me trying to actively muscularly force my arms through the hitting zone while keeping my front hip blocked. So we don't want to do that. Instead, we want to really get the external rotation of the front hip like this, and that's what's going to fling our arms forward through the contact zone, right? Then I drop feed in balls, and it worked. What's really important is the timing. So there's a really small window where you have to fire the arms right after the hips go. So you can't go like this and then try to fire the arms. Otherwise, the rotation from the hips won't be transferred to the arms. You also don't want to pull the arms ahead of the hips.
Baby, I'm your biggest fan. follow